down here in the top left, it is RAGNAROK on Romanticide. And his opponent is Innovation. That is a lie. It is time. I saw red Terran, instantly thought Innovation. So RAGNAROK, yeah, he's the kind of player to not really want to play it too standard. He loves to just put the pressure on early, get himself into a good position so that he can kind of tear you apart little by little. Time as well. Once he gets up to that third base, he is that good Terran player. Just continuously putting on aggression, has drops all over the map to clean up his opponent. But yeah, so it's kind of like not an immovable wall versus an unstoppable force. It's more like an unstoppable force versus a raging river. And I know a raging river could be an unstoppable force, but in this case, yeah, we'll just go with the analogy. It is a Chinese team league, so I feel like I have to come out with some good proverb for how this game is gonna go. Just to be culturally correct. And trying to think. And I'll come up with one later. We have the spawning pool coming in. The SCV just going to confirm that this is the hatch first, so he's not going to feel too bad about sending that Reaper across to get some damage in. And I mean, behind this, RAGNAROK is just droning up. We don't really see too much of anything yet, but that is something that can change on a dime. As we do have that coming on in. Oh, the Reaper grenade finding that last hit on the Ling, so that will go down. Already a good start for time, just whittling away at the defenses. He's got the third CC back at home. And we'll be going into what looks to be a 2-1-1 after this. Yep. So, very standard play. 2-1-1 is the quintessential Terran build for aggression. It allows you to get out so many Marines early on. It allows you to get that stim pack nice and early. And coupled with the third CC, it's just really hard to deal with for RAGNAROK. I'm not being down on RAGNAROK either. He should be able to hold the early aggression, should be able to stay safe. But right now, the one thing I gotta say about him that's really hurting me is the fact that he doesn't really have a lot of vision out on the map. He's got that Overlord there, but other than that, it's just a straight line of vision. No corners being covered, no just no flanks being retreated. I'm sorry, I'm really forgetting English here. I work the night shift, so I'm on about hour 17 now. So if I start to babble a little bit, I apologize. But yeah, he just doesn't really have a ton of vision available to him, and that might hurt him if time does decide to go for these big counterattacks and hit where RAGNAROK isn't really paying attention. Next up is the Baneling Nest. So staying safe in case this is some sort of Hellbat play, as well as getting that Carapace, is very important for him, as the Medevac's gonna load up here and move on in. Just waiting for a couple of additional ones. The armory is down as well, so hey, there you go. It is going to be that Hellbat push. Now, Time doesn't have his attack or his armor upgrades started, so this Carapace is going to put Ragnarok ahead in that regard, but he still doesn't have the Banelings out. Stim is complete as well, so Time just going to go straight forward, dives on top of the Queens. They're just trying to buy time for those Banelings to finish up, and he will get a couple of them finished, but unfortunately the splits are just too good. So all of those Queens will fall. And now Ragnarok between a rock and a hard place. He's out of links. He's almost out of Queens. This is going to hurt, you know. Just the fact that he's had to remake all of these links as we have a little bit of a lag spike coming on in. Oh, no time. You were doing so good, my man. Yep, there we go. Goes a little bit before the Hellbats went down, though. So he keeps those alive. And that does... Hey, that means he will be able to augment his next attack a little bit more. You can see that he's just trying to get the Banelings. Does get the lift up. Only one Hellbat survives, though. And now time is established on this third base. And we'll be pressing on out. There's a little bit of an Overlord going to get sniped, so... Good on Ragnarok for getting some vision on those areas. But here we go. The mines are going to get set up. Very far forward in the front. And Ragnarok not really able to engage in here just yet. Taking his time, setting up a large concave. The siege tanks have been completely surrounded here. A big F2 from Ragnarok, but they don't hit at the same time. Again, no pun intended. But that does mean that Ragnarok is now scrambling. He is down 30 supply. Gets a huge connection right there, but... There's still a siege tank in the backfield, and the Banelings are now exposed. They don't have any link support. So if Time wants to keep this attack going, he's just got to bring the reinforcements over. And he can keep picking up, by the way. Like, there's just not enough links to defend multiple locations. Here we go. Oh, no. Ragnarok not paying attention. Will lose 12 workers. This is just insane amounts of damage. And so Ragnarok, you know, he's got a couple of Hydralisks, but he just can't afford too much else. He's only on 66 workers to the 79 of Time. The Widowmine gets a couple of additional kills. With that, as well as the Banelings just pushing their way forward. But this is just a small drop. And even then, it's doing big amounts of damage. Finally getting a good connection right there. Looks like he may have F2'd. Time is just powering up. He's got 4 bases. He's equal with Ragnarok in that regard. He's already got his 5th ready to go. It's currently 106 to 68 army supply. If Time knew this, he would just push and he would just try and kill Ragnarok right here and now. If he knew how far ahead he was. All it takes is one Baneling connection, and Time isn't splitting his forces. So they will get some pretty good connections. Hey, that was pretty good from RAGNAROK getting those. That means he will stay alive. He will have a little bit more room. But now, I feel like RAGNAROK needs to get some counter damage in. He's really let Time get to this point where it's just really hard to keep up with him economically, and oh no. Like, he's up 50 supply. I mean, that tells you all you really need to know about this stage. The Lurker Den's coming down, the Hive is gonna come in as well, but yeah, Time isn't really gonna give him any of himself to try and hold on for that. Banelings will clean up this drop, but I think from here, Time just needs to bring all his forces together, get that big, decisive engagement, and move on to the next game. Can't really give a lot of room, a lot of energy, a lot of clock minutes to allow RAGNAROK to macro his way back into it. Now with the Lurkers, it becomes a little bit more hazardous to move in. Slowly inching his way forward. He's got a couple of drops here and there. As the Liberator shutting down mining on one location, 2 Marines doing it in another, and that's just being cost efficient with what you have. It's 3 workers total. Inching his way in, just baiting out the shots to those siege tanks. As RAGNAROK is in between a rock and a hard place once again. He's trading out his Banes for not the most cost and efficient engagements. And honestly, he doesn't really even have a big enough bank to deal with it. Vipers coming in, but they will get sniped. One of them at least will get sniped. The split is pretty good, and the siege tanks don't really have a lot left there. That's going to be it. RAGNAROK drops game number 1. Time will move on to game number 6 with a 5-0 lead for Kaitu Gaming. So we do have CC coming down, and the SCV will get the scout off on this, but it will be a little bit late because the links are already out. He does spot them, however, so that kind of tells you that, okay, I just need to hold the fort in the, like, for a little bit longer. I don't know if he's going for roaches afterwards, so I gotta play it safe. That's what Time is thinking. And check as well, see that the third base is not down, but a couple of these things were forced to stay at home just for the Reaper, but the Reaper is back at here to defend. So I like how RAGNAROK hasn't committed fully to it. He hasn't thrown away his lings, essentially. But that does put him a little bit behind, because looking at it, the Terran player is equal on bases. That is never supposed to happen. And now, Time, he's just going to get the Cyclone. He's going to get a ton of Marines. The potential for a good, solid counterattack is immense. You know, he doesn't even need to go up to 3 bases. He could just all in off of 2, and there won't be really a lot that RAGNAROK can do. And I know I'm kind of being harsh on Ragnarok. Just a little bit. He is a teammate, so I probably should give him some benefit of the doubt. But you know what? He's going up against a very tough opponent, and sometimes you just need a little tough love. So I'm hoping that kicking him while he's a little bit behind might give him the confidence he needs to press on. Yeah, you show those rocks, Marines. A little bit too eager there. Now we have the Baneling Nest coming on down. Ragnarok trying to drone up quite heavily to make sure that he doesn't fall too far behind in terms of the workers. He's currently only on 41. So definitely not where you want to be. But now he is pumping out a ton of lings, just getting ready for this attack coming across. I didn't see an armory come in. So these will not be Hellbats, but they will be a nice little distraction as the attack in the main base doing what it can to bring back a lot of the lings. The drones, roasty toasty. As he's just going to focus fire those down. 5 so far have gone in. The 6th will fall, and that will be it for the attack. But that was pretty good damage. You know, he didn't really invest a ton, and he didn't really lose a lot for it. And as I say that, the observer brings up that he's 100 minerals behind. That's okay. So now Ragnarok does have a little bit of time, though, to build up. He's got the drone count coming in, so that's going to help out quite a bit. He's got to remake all those workers. Stim, I guess, is going to go try and go over the Overlord. One problem with Ragnarok right now as well is just the fact that he doesn't really have a lot of vision out on the map. You know, his Overlord's continuously getting sniped, making it difficult for him. And now this is a pretty late Spire tech. The reason it's so late is because he did need to bring his lair up, but by the time this is out, we already see Time has plenty of Widow Mines on the field. He will have his +1 upgrades. Some good focus fire will still take a connection there, losing 3 Marines. But now we have the Liberator coming on in. The Spore Crawler just barely out of position. The Queens without support, so 2 of them will go down. At Time just finding the damage where he can. And just keeping up the pressure now. I think this is going to be the most important part for him, is just making sure that Ragnarok is forced to consistently make units. No more drones for you. Getting rid of some of that larva as well would be fantastic, so that's why killing the queens is so nice. The mines are going to set themselves up, making it difficult for Ragnarok to come in. He does take a couple of connections. Good pull right there to mitigate some of that. 2 drones going down. And the Overseer is done, so he should be able to get rid of those mines pretty quickly there. But now the creep is gone, and without the queens, that's not going to get respread. Ragnarok does have the army supply advantage, though. He has the mutas out, So he can still kind of rotate around. That's going to be really annoying to deal with. Just got to be careful not to lose any until he hits critical mass, but he already lost a couple right there on the, like, trying to join up. Let's get some Widow Mines, though. That's a nice little poke. A nice little kill right there. And also, he's forced Ragnarok to go for a more forward fourth expansion. A little bit harder to defend as we have a double prong coming in from Time. Muta's trying to find this one. One of them will go down. As we do see the rotation, just a little bit of a seesaw. The 1-2 punch as well. Cyclones coming in, does bait out those mutas to come forward, but no stim, so no pickoffs there. You know, one thing I've got to note is that Time hasn't really been microing his units a lot. He hasn't been splitting his Marines very well on the creep. And it's cost him a few of his, a few too many of them at points. But a huge Widow Combine connection right there. That was absolutely devastating for Ragnarok's supply. He's currently down to only 86 versus 107. And now the Muta's a little bit caught here between a rock and a hard place as they have to go where the Marines are to escape. Oh, no. Will lose so many of them. So Ragnarok still has a lot of ways to get it back into this. He's got to get a Bailey Nest down. He's got to get his 5th base rolling pretty darn soon as well. And he's got to go up to Hive. That is an almost definite at this point. The problem is Linkbang Muta does delay your Hive for a while. So I'm wondering if this is going to be the best strategy for him. Now we have those +3 upgrades coming in. And now we see Time coming in over here looking for some more damage. And unfortunately, Ragnarok just not really able to get the traits that he's looking for. With that drop as well coming in, getting so much damage, forcing the mutas home, and he will lose the base. Mutas, though, gonna do what they can to kind of pull this back. He will lose a couple more of them. As Ragnarok's still pushing the creep out further and further on the left side. He leaves his right side completely open to these attacks from Time. And you can see Time taking advantage of the fact that he is completely unseen to rotate around there. Bailey's getting a couple of good connections. This will get cleaned up. At this point, I don't think Time really needs to, like, divvy up his army in this way. It would be better to just go for the big fights. Widow Mine doesn't get the best of connections, so this position might be forfeit here. Time is just going for it, though, with his army. So, not necessarily a base race because there's not that many units for Time. But this is absolutely devastating. Ragnarok gets on top of absolutely everything. The production is completely unfazed, so we are in a full-on base race now. As 25 workers going down, more will follow. The drone count slowly going to start picking off, but the fact that he has such a forward base means he can pull a drone away. Makes it a little bit easier for him. The Spire did not fall just yet, but Time is below 100 supply, so I think Ragnarok has done it. You know, there's just not really too much that Time can do from this point. As he divided his forces up a little bit too much, meaning that he couldn't take the exact fight that he wanted. He's producing absolutely nothing either. Getting 7 racks out just to pump out Marines. That might help. But there's no orbitals. The supply depots are all down. You don't really have a lot of minerals to your name. And you're losing your additional... racks from before. All of these factors are going to prompt time to come home and defend, but now Ragnarok with a very solid lead, even getting the Thors for good measure, hotboxing them. And here we go, Ragnarok coming in. He doesn't even worry too much about the Widowmice. He's just going straight in for the surround. The Banelings will jump all over this. No, he does back away. That can be the way to kind of throw the game, is to throw away all these Banes, since you don't have a Baneling nest anymore. In fact, he doesn't have a lot of tech available to him. A good splits from time, just going to get rid of as many Banelings as possible. As more workers going down, this base is going to get picked off. The fresh mules are not so fresh with the scratches and dents of a Zergling claw on them. And 5 more mutas on the way. Looks like not that much micro there from time. He was focusing on other points of contention, but he's got to hold this small location down here. That's all it comes down to. If he can hold this, if he can turtle up super duper hard, then he maybe has a chance, because again, Ragnarok, he doesn't have a hive, he doesn't have +3 attack or defense. Doesn't really have a lot available to him. So now time is just rotating around the map as Ragnarok, getting as many pickoffs as he humanly can. It's currently 31 workers to 36, 57 to 64 in that army supply. Yeah, that mutaball is pretty good right now. Quite powerful. You can see it's getting rid of the missile turrets, so this position might fall. But he is sacrificing quite a few of them to make that happen. Looks like our red Terran friend is going to go for it, however. Gets the splits on, not realizing that there's not that many Banelings left. Oh, he lost so many Mutalisks. So many Mutas. And even there, like, there's just not a lot. He's making 10 lings. That's pretty much it for him here. But time is running out of himself. And you know what? Ragnarok is going to take the game. GG is called.